Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. There's one question in particular that's been coming to the minds of pretty much every XRP holder on the entire freaking planet over the last couple days, which is some variant of this. Why did Trump change his tune about XRP? Because mind you, less than a week ago, he said that XRP was going to be part of a crypto strategic reserve. That didn't happen, and now we know that's not happening. In fact, instead, what we got via executive order from the president is that Bitcoin is being treated with favoritism and no specific mention of XRP. So what gives? Well, I have a theory. I got a little bit of a theory. I'm going to break it down for you. I got a number of things to say about this, but just know at the backtrack that I personally strongly believe that what is most probable is that somebody changed Trump's mind after he started publicly talking about XRP. And can you guess who I'm thinking it might be? But before going further, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, let me do a little bit of table setting for this video because this is crucial. Everybody needs to be on the same page with this information so that you can understand the full force of what I'm going to unveil and what I'm going to state after this, all right? So let's go back to March 2nd. Not exactly a long time ago. Here's a post from David Sachs. David Sachs is the White House AI and Crypto Czar. That's his official title over there. And here's what he shared with his 216,000 followers on X. President Trump has announced a crypto strategic reserve consisting of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. This is consistent with his Week 1 Executive Order 14178. President Trump is keeping his promise to make the U.S. the crypto capital of the world. More to come at the summit. Now, a key takeaway here is that he called this a crypto strategic reserve, and he stated that it would consist of Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies. He didn't say that there would be a Bitcoin thing in a reserve and then a thing of lesser stature for everything else. That's not what he said. We're not mincing words here. This wasn't an oops-a-doodles. It was Trump and David Sachs on the same page saying the same stuff. We understood the general concept of what was going to happen, and I've got more to say about this a little bit later, but let me finish setting the table here. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse reposted that on X and shared his own thoughts. He wrote, and this is also March 2nd, I've said this before, the crypto industry will achieve our goals and beyond if we work together. Appreciate the crypto president Donald Trump's vision of a government digital asset reserve representative of the industry. Maximalism is the enemy of the industry's progress. Glad to see the President of the United States recognizing we live in a multi-chain world and that we're finally moving past Bill Hinman and the Biden administration's SEC's very broken thinking. I will certainly continue to champion this while in Washington at the end of this week. And so, folks, the reason he's talking about the importance of understanding the maximalism is so that there would be an even playing field. That's the freaking point. And Brad Garlinghouse was expecting that on March 2nd as well, based on the messaging coming straight from the freaking White House here. And in fact, we had this. Yeah, guys, remember this, and this is March 2nd, directly from President Trump. This is the famous one. President Trump said on social media, and this is a quote, "My executive order on digital assets directed the Presidential Working Group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano." So, folks, right there, crypto strategic reserve. XRP specifically. In fact, it wasn't until a post later because clearly he recognized that this caused an uproar. In a separate post, he said something to the effect of, and yes, of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum. But that was an afterthought. It was XRP first in this post, and then Solana and Cardano. What did we instead get of XRP in a crypto strategic reserve, and why did this happen? Well, here's what we got. And I covered this in great detail in another video, so I'm not going to rehash everything here, but I do want to make sure that you know that this is the thing. This is on the White House website, March 6th. Establishment of the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and United States digital assets stockpile. Wait a minute, I'm sorry. What happened on March 2nd? Again, Trump here, XRP crypto strategic reserve. Instead, we see a Bitcoin reserve and separately a digital asset stockpile. David Sachs, again, he was saying the same thing. Bitcoin and other top cryptocurrencies and a crypto strategic reserve, all treated the same. So what the hell happened here, right? And so my fellow XRP YouTuber Mikkel, he shared that David Sachs post and he said, this was 4 days ago. What happened? And so here's my first sentence on this. I wrote, maybe the toxic Bitcoin maximalists successfully persuaded Trump. Could be as simple as that. Now, that's my best speculation, but I've got more to say. Oh, yes, I have additional thoughts on this. But I do believe that it's a virtual certainty that multiple toxic Bitcoin maximalists got to Trump and they persuaded him to treat Bitcoin with favoritism rather than having an even playing field. This definitely changed. And the messaging from David Sachs has changed. Look, so there's this clip. This was, in this case, it was shared by Cointelegraph, but he was on Bloomberg, on national television here. And he was asked by the host, and this is just yesterday. Bloomberg host asked this question, and she conflated Ripple with XRP, but I'm just going to read it as she stated it. The host says, going back to what President Trump mentioned over the weekend, talking of Ripple, Solana, other alternative coins, people are wondering whether they're going to be included in this stockpile. Will they? Does the United States own them? Why mention them by the president? Excellent questions, right? I'm glad you asked. Let's hear what David Sachs had to say after both he and the president just days ago said that, there's going to be a crypto strategic reserve where all coins were going to be treated equally and XRP would be a part of that. So what did he say to that? Here's the transcription. David Sachs, crypto czar of the White House. He says, well, the president just mentioned the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap, so I think people are just reading into this a little bit too much. He just mentioned the top 5. In terms of what we'll actually have, again, we have to do the accounting. We're not sure, sitting here today, whether the federal government owns any of these alternative cryptocurrencies. We know it owns Bitcoin. I believe it owns some Ethereum. I'm not sure about the other ones. This is why we have to do the accounting. To be honest, no one has been able to give us a straight answer as to what the federal government owns. Okay, I can have a little bit of sympathy as far as various agencies of the government not sufficiently communicating with one another, not knowing what they hold, because broadly speaking, the government's kind of incompetent. It's good at blowing stuff up, and I'm glad it can do that. Other than that, it's not exactly a machine of efficiency, let's say. So fine. I can understand that you need to take some time, do what you have to do to figure that out. The rest of it, hell no. Oh, hell no. I shared this post on X tackling exactly this. I shared the video clip with David Sachs right there, and oh my God, he's talk about misleading. Like this, absolutely. I just feel like they're gaslighting us. Check this out. So here's what I wrote. The explanation in this video clip is a very weak attempt from White House crypto czar David Sachs to explain the Bitcoin strategic reserve news from last night. This past weekend, Trump explicitly stated XRP would be included in a crypto strategic reserve, and that's a quote. Now Sachs claims people are reading into this a little bit too much, and that's a quote from him again, reading into this a little bit too much, and that Trump was just mentioning the top 5 coins by market cap, but not promising anything. Bullshit. Trump was explicit in his message last weekend. No one was reading into anything because Trump's statement about XRP was clear. There was no vagueness regarding the concept of a crypto strategic reserve. He didn't explain the nuts and bolts of it, such as how much XRP would be added and where the funding would come from, but he did not need to in order for the general public to understand the concept behind it. No one was wondering what Trump meant when he said, and I quote, "My executive order on digital assets directed the presidential working group to move forward on a crypto strategic reserve that includes XRP, Solana, and Cardano, end quote. Sachs said he didn't know if the United States government owns any XRP, but the executive order signed last night stated those assets that would be in the digital asset stockpile, again, no longer called a crypto strategic reserve, but it's a digital asset stockpile, would only be there from forfeiture events. Meaning, if someone did something illegal with their XRP and the government seized it, then the government would own it and it would be in the stockpile. If the government doesn't hold any XRP currently, then how exactly would it end up in the digital asset stockpile that Trump talked about last night? The general public understands the concept of a strategic reserve. The general public does not know explicitly what it means to have a national stockpile. And folks, specifically when I write that, I mean, in the context of crypto, what the hell does that mean? Especially when all the, like pretty much all the language anyway, leading up to this, the bulk of it was about a crypto strategic reserve. What the hell do you mean national stockpile then? And so then I wrote, but this is the switch that happened. We went from reserve to stockpile, and these words do mean things. It seems highly likely the Trump administration had intent to acquire these assets so long as such acquisitions would be budget neutral, but then he changed things up so that only Bitcoin would get this special treatment. But of course, Trump wouldn't want to walk back his public post about XRP, so he changed it in a way that he believed wouldn't make it look like he was walking back from what he promised completely. But he is indeed walking that part back. I think toxic Bitcoin maximalists got to Trump, changed his mind, and as a result, his strategy shifted. Okay, so that's my full post. Now, it's be crystal clear here. The change that happened, it's partly semantics, but one material difference. So the semantics part is, again, crypto strategic reserve for anything that's not Bitcoin became the digital asset stockpile. It's for Bitcoin, it's still a reserve, still a strategic reserve. For anything else, it's digital asset stockpile. So there's a semantic difference there, but there's also one very meaningful difference, which is that there will be attempts, if budget neutral, this is what Trump said via executive order, there will be attempts to purchase Bitcoin. Now we'll see if that actually comes to fruition, but he said yes, and then he said no for everything else. Again, before this, everything was in the same bucket, so everything in the reserve, presumably, and this is speculation, but what do you think? Everything was in the same bucket. So what, they weren't going to buy anything? But then like, okay, we weren't going to buy anything. We're just going to say, hey, we already hold this stuff, so now we're calling it this. And then that was it. No, and then they changed, like, okay, well, maybe we might buy Bitcoin if the budget's neutral. No, folks, I do not buy that for a second. They were going to buy everything. That's my speculation. And then they backpedaled, and where would the pressure come from? Well, not from Brad Garlinghouse, that's for damn sure. For fuck's sake, it obviously came from the toxic Bitcoin maximalist. Very clearly. It wouldn't come from anyone else. You know? I think that Trump, he's basically playing the role of manager. When you're president, you got a lot of things to manage. It doesn't mean you're a specialist in everything. You have professionals and experts around you to help you come to the conclusions that make the most sense ultimately. That's the goal anyway. And so I don't think he knows a ton about crypto, to be honest. Not that he necessarily has to, as long as he's surrounded by the right people. And David Sachs seemed to be totally on board with this concept. So I don't think it was David Sachs that sandbagged us here, but he's clearly just speaking in lockstep with the president, which is what you'd expect someone in his role to be. So, but then that's what bothers me. I understand he's doing his job, but it freaking bothers me because I'm not a stupid human. When he's like, oh yeah, how did he word this again? He said, well, the president just mentioned, this is the quote, just mentioned the top 5 cryptocurrencies by market cap. So I think people are just reading into this a little bit too much. No, we looked at your freaking words. We're not reading into it too much. What he explicitly stated those cryptocurrencies. And by the way, they're not even all the top 5 in market cap. XRP community member Leonidas pointed this out. He said, those are not the top 5. BNB and Doge have a higher market cap than Cardano. Currently, Doge does not. I don't know if, I guess maybe it did when he posted that, or he made a mistake, one of those two. But BNB does. So no, he didn't. Trump didn't even pick the top 5. He selected the ones that he wanted to talk about, and that's that. That's just what happened. Now I feel like someone's trying to gaslight me, and I don't take kindly to that. Because I'm not stupid, and I know it was stated, and you can't tell me that that's not what happened. That is what happened. I don't like this. Now, mind you, and I posted a video when this happened last night. Don't get this twisted here. I am happy on the whole that this happened. I got upset when I saw this from David Sachs after I posted that video, because now I feel like you're just trying to trick me, and I'm not a stupid human, and I don't appreciate it. I know it. Now I know that he, again, like I said, I get it. His job is to just go with the wind. Whatever the president says, you got to go with that. Trump obviously made a change here, and he's just going with it, and so he's got to do his best to protect. This is what politicians do. This is what people, including, unelected bureaucrats, do. I understand that. I don't like it, though. I don't like it on either side of the political aisle, and that's why I'm calling it out. So yes, I'm glad that we got this instead of nothing. I'm still glad that there's a strategic Bitcoin reserve, even though I much would have preferred an even playing field and a number of top coins just being a reserve, and to have them all treated the same. I would have preferred that. I'm still glad we got this. And XRP not mentioned specifically in this new stockpile thing, but we know that they're not going to be purchasing any coins for the stockpile. And so maybe XRP is going to be in that. We don't even know if the government owns any XRP right now, though. That's why this burns my biscuit, son. I'm not a fan of this. So again, I didn't really get all, kerfuffled about this until I woke up the next day and saw David Sachs say this bullshit. Then I'm like, okay, now this is why we cannot have nice things. You're never going to convince me that something strange didn't happen behind her. Like, oh, we the public, we misunderstood what they said. Like, we took them out of context. No, get the hell out of here with that. We absolutely did not. No, we did not. So I'm still thrilled. Like, I'll still take this. This is the first pro-crypto presidency ever. The things will meaningfully change for all of us as a result. More money will flow in to the largest capital market in the world of crypto, the largest capital market on the planet, the United States of America. This is great stuff, big picture. In a span of years and decades, the amount of extra money that'll flow in that otherwise wouldn't, it's hard to know exactly what that is going to be, but it's going to be massive. So I'm still excited. I'm only offended that they're talking to me in a way that makes me, like, that tries to make me sound like I don't properly interpret reality. Like, that's the part I have the problem with. Don't do that. I don't like it when politicians do it. I don't like it when unelected bureaucrats do that crap. I'm not a stupid human. I'm just not going to fall for it. I inform myself. And so that's why I made this video, to call this crap out. Stop it. Continue being pro-crypto, but knock this crap off. My God, it's just offensive, right? Are you not offended? Like, don't you feel like they're insulting your intelligence when any politician does this on any topic? Don't you just feel like it's an insult to your intelligence? I guess some stupid people actually do fall for some of this stuff and just uninformed people, but God damn it, you've got the sum of all human knowledge at your fingertips. Instead of just blindly believing stuff, just use your fat little fingers to type stuff on the Webernuts, and then you can find out the truth. And it can be hard because people also lie on the internet, but if you wade through it, you can actually figure stuff out, generally speaking here. This one's not hard. This one's not hard to figure out. If you're paying attention, you can see. I only needed to show you a handful of things so that you can see all the relevant information and come to your own conclusion, and I'm willing to bet that all of you probably feel pretty similar to me, at least about this particular aspect. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.